finally kind of manifested themselves in my decision making. Again, a lot of you know for the last year that a lot of my in-person content was in reference to a Francina Evans, a woman who was convicted. And I have to say this again because if I don't, the racist detectives on Staten Island will try to come after me. Because you see, under crime victim law and even domestic violence law, there's nothing that prevents me from mentioning the name of a person who was convicted for harassing and burglarizing me. Actually, that's part of my right as a crime victim, which has been violated by the Richmond County DA and the Staten Island 120 and 123 precinct for well over a year and a half. You see, Miss Evans was convicted for harassing and burglarizing me. This was not a decision I made. This was not a piece of paper that I filled out that put this on her. No, people. This is because this woman went to a trial, and after a month-long trial, Judge Saunders out of Essex County, New Jersey, convicted her for harassment and burglary because she's a pathological liar. The purpose of this broadcast this morning is to announce a short documentary that I'll be releasing later today, conveniently titled Liar, A Man's Journey into Domestic Violence. This short video is pretty much going to highlight how I was lied on and set up by a Joseph Quirk of the NYPD, who arrested me for allegedly calling Francina Evans the day she was convicted for harassment. You see, people, there's an old adage that is said, and I've heard it so many times from men in my life, and even women, and that adage goes, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. This is the actual, I would say, circumstance of my life right now. For see, as many of you know from the videos that you heard that I don't even need to mention of me breaking up with Francina Evans, she has been after me for almost 2 years because I broke up with her. She has lied on me to the police. She has gone after my child. She has burglarized my home. She has slandered me. She's gone after my employment and my ability to earn. She's tracked me through multiple counties in New York, and New Jersey, simply trying to file charges on me for something I did not do. My problem as a black man is that the law enforcement institutions in many of the municipalities that we face are, and forgive me for saying this, completely Caucasian dominated. So see, my pretty mulatto girlfriends with the features of slavery that our people endured for hundreds of years of Caucasians raping and taking what they want from our women, these features are obvious and prevalent in Francina. As soon as you look at her, you can see the rape of her ancestors in her face, from her complexion and her green eyes. This makes her a lot more favorable to the NYPD, who has actually decided to not even honor a federally protected order of protection that is supposed to protect my rights against the very thing that I'm going through right now. See, people, on May 1st, like I've told you, I was awarded a final order of protection for Francina Evans to stay away from not only myself but my infant child. She will say that I lied on her, but people, this decision is not made by me. This decision was made by a judge who, after looking at the evidence Ms. Evans was presenting, decided to say, you know something? After reviewing all of this evidence, this young woman is a pathological liar, and we need to do something. This Judge Saunders out of Essex County Family Court, further in his wisdom and legal decision making, realized that a no contact order in its current I can't think of the word right now, in its current form was not sufficient enough to protect me and my daughter, because Francina was still coming after us, even though there was a complete no contact order. Remember, she contacted the mother of my child. She did not care that there was an order of protection in place. So this judge, in his wisdom, not because I put it down, I did not request this, people, this judge put a 1,000-yard keep away and distance restriction for Francina Evans not to come 1,000 feet near myself or my infant child. People, this was not Clayton Howard who did this. This was a judge, a legal representative of the law out of Essex County who has been on the bench for over 15 years. This judge made this decision to further put more stipulations on this woman because this woman was continually to come after me and my child. Now, the Richmond County DA's office has been aware of this the whole time, but they refused to honor it because Francina personally knows the district attorney. My attorney told me how the ADA has informed him that Francina is in and out of the district attorney's office and friendly with all the executives. Black men watching this video, this woman is dangerous because if you break up with her, what she's going to do is go lie on you to the police, try to have you arrested for rape and falsely assaulting her. In my documentary, Liar, that'll be released today, I will show proof that Francina Evans accused me of multiple sexual and physical offenses against her in an attempt to get a no-contact order against me. She'll lie and tell you she never accused me of rape. She'll lie and tell you she never accused me of physical violence. Well, people, in this documentary that I'll show later today, I will definitively show you that Francina Evans accused me of I will say, of physical charges of domestic violence against her, all of which I had to fight off. Now, people, I'm not constantly talking about this because I have nothing to do or I'm just so bitter and jealous that the relationship is over. No, people, that's not why Clayton Howard has decided to pick up the mantle of false police reporting and to use his situation to empower my brother, because that's what this is about, people. Breaking up is not a crime. Just because you're tired of a woman who is in a situation that she can't control and you decide to leave her, you don't deserve to be stalked, harassed, menaced, robbed, or set up in conjunction with the police simply because you want nothing to do with someone. People of God, this is what happened to me. This woman walked into the 120 precinct 4 days after she was after she was convicted of harassment. I'm sorry, it works my skin when I even think about it. She was convicted of harassment. 4 days later, she walks into the 120 and lies and tells these officers, and Officer Cahill, that I called her and I said, if I can't have you, no one can. Now, a real cop, a cop with a fucking real college education, and some real sense, and who wasn't racially motivated, might have looked at the history that was behind me and this woman. Because, again, remember, people, she had a warrant out of the 120 that these detectives manipulated so she would not be arrested. People, I'm going to tell you something. This woman first was charged with coercion when she stole the dog and used the dog to try to make me sign over the shares of a company she and I owned. I proved this to the 123 precinct definitively. But a racist detective named Tom, I think his name was Michael LeVay, decided that he would close that case out and pursue me. This is what has been happening to me. Every time Francina Evans is charged with something illegal, a racist detective from one of the precincts, in conjunction with probably Victor Brown, who is definitely lieutenant, and the racist DA, who is Michael McMahon, manipulate the case matter to close it out or send it to another precinct. So now when this other precinct the complaint is sent to finally receives the precinct and I'm interviewed by a detective, considering it didn't happen in the jurisdiction of that precinct, they close it out. And what they do is they send it back to the 123 or the 120 precinct, who conveniently will not reopen the case because they do not want to prosecute Francina. Not because she's not guilty, people. Because remember, I don't know how many of you are familiar with domestic violence procedure and order of protection, but I'm assuming that a lot of people in my audience are, because my problem is not singular to me. Domestic violence is a real problem that plagues thousands and millions of Americans every year. So many of you are familiar, more than you wish to be, with the procedures of orders of protection and domestic violence law. Now, under an order of protection, because of all the malicious and false reports that have been filed by partners simply trying to get their partner arrested, the cops now do require proof of a phone call or a message or something that substantiates the fact that a violation to an order of protection occurred based off of a communication electronically, like a phone call, something like that. They always want to see definitive proof that this happened. Yet in the case of Francina Evans, who actually got convicted of harassing and burglarizing me, 4 days, I got to say it again, 4 days before she filed the complaint saying I called her, these racist detectives in the 120 precinct, Officer Cahill, Detective Joseph Quirk, they needed no proof of Francina. Francina was credible, even though she had a conviction for harassment that was less than a week old. She was credible to them as a mulatto woman who the features of rape and pillage of our people are so prevalent in. See, this detective Joseph Quirk looks at Francina and he thinks of a time where he as a white man could have took that pussy, and he wouldn't have had to sit back and falsely set up her ex-boyfriend to gain favor with her. So what he does is he takes an incident that actually happened 2 months before this order of protection Francina put in, which was May 19th. Francina Evans filed her only general order of protection against me May 19th of 2022, exactly 11 days after Essex County, New Jersey, and the Newark police charged her with burglary and harassment for stalking and burglarizing my home, a crime for which she admitted to the cop on the phone. This is why she was charged with burglary. Again, people, it wasn't me. So she goes and she files a family court order when Newark charges her for robbery. And the cops, the 123 precinct, try to help her keep this order enforceable so I can't return the property that 2 judges ordered her to return. Now, in exchange, so she files this order on May 19th, but actually I was arrested for something that happened in March 18th of 2022, 2 months before Francina Evans ever petitioned the court for an order of protection. People, that is highly illegal. You cannot be arrested for an offense that happened before an order of protection was even filed. Yet this racist, disgusting quirk just charged me with this crime. He charged me with violating an order for an incident that happened 2 months before Francina Evans ever petitioned the court for her order of protection. Now, what he's charging me with, people, is saying I threatened her. Because after she robbed me, which many of you saw, which you hear the recordings of the brother she had now has posted to her timeline, calling her an embarrassment and telling me how he wants to help me get the property back his sister stole. Because remember, people, if you look at this woman's page, from what I've been told right now by my attorney, her and her brother are on the page right now, people. I have tapes of her brother admitting she robbed me. People, how is this going to work for this woman in a court of law? It's not. But the racist, disgusting practices of the 120 Precinct, 123 Detective Squad in the NYPD has another innocent black man facing charges for something he didn't do. People of Staten Island, when are we going to get tired collectively as a community? How many of your brothers, your fathers, your cousins, and people and men you love have been falsely arrested by the racist detective squads and completely, I want to say, racially directed district attorney's office, whose main agenda on Staten Island is to push and falsely prosecute every black man that they can on Staten Island. People, how many of your relatives have been set up by the detective squad? How many of your relatives have been set up on false cases that have been actually prosecuted by the DA's office, knowing there is definitive proof that your relative, your brother, your father, your cousin, someone you love didn't do it? People, I'm almost positive, listening to this broadcast, there are thousands of people on Staten Island who have gone through the very same thing I'm going through, with being falsely set up by the racist detective squad and that racist district attorney, Michael McMahon. People, I was raised by Maggie Howard. I have never been a coward, and I am afraid of no one. I will speak my truth because I come from a woman who spoke her truth at every opportunity she had. People, racism is wrong. Discrimination is wrong. And as black men, we need to stand together to stop these draconian, racially motivated police and administrative officers who further persecute our black men. Now, I'm not saying that all of our black men are right. I'm not even saying that all of them truly deserve to be fought for. Because, people, we have to be honest. In domestic violence, love and emotion, bitterness, jealousy, these are all emotions that come with the package of domestic violence. And many times, a man is in a position where he may be, the aggressive party or the domestically abusive one. And a lot of times it's because the woman has decided she no longer wanted to deal with his abuse. Now, people, this wasn't Francina Evans' situation, people. I was tired of the abuse, which many people have heard from the tapes where she's begging me to stay with her and talking about her very mother and grandmother who were stalking and harassing the living shit out of me, people. Yet as a black man on Staten Island, simply because some of the false, I would just want to call them false, disgusting representatives of advocacy on Staten Island. I'm going to drop names, people. Malcolm Penn, Bobby Digi, what's this other clown's name? Iron Mike. People, these guys are no advocates, people. They come and they do this stuff because they're looking for social media clout from you. They're not really for black men. They're not really for the community. Because, people, I'm a living, breathing, 210 pound flesh that is a black man who is being lied on by Staten Island's Golden Girl, which hundreds of people know. Yet no one will step up and say anything and stand with me because she's connected to the DA. People, there's a woman, Dana Walker, who's a real estate broker on Staten Island, who actually was like a sister to my mother. I actually have text messages from this woman where she tells me she can't help me because the DA is involved and she doesn't want to be targeted. People, this is how fearful our so-called advocates and people of black social justice on Staten Island are, that they won't even help the son of their friend, or they won't even help another black man because they are so afraid of this racist district attorney coming after them, of these racist police doing something to them. See, community, we would not have to be afraid of these organizations if we really stood together. This was the point of the dream that my late mother had in Operation Rock, an organization that brought these organizations and the people of the community together to be one singular force of strength against a manipulative DA or manipulative, unethical police. Yet, for some reason, even though the message is so strong, I find myself a man on an island fighting an almost impossible task by trying to prove to people what actually happened in my situation, even though there's not only my words that are the proof, it is actual documentation. Today, people of Staten Island, people of New York City, people of the United States of America from urban communities and inner cities, you need to take heed to my message and pay attention to the law enforcement and legal administrations within your municipality. Make sure they're not dominated by racism and bigotry and a racially motivated agenda to imprison and arrest and prosecute minorities, because this is what's going on in these municipalities. All we have to do is look at situations like George Floyd, where these men are arrested, detained, and treated like complete animals as they're begging for the police to let them go and give them the opportunity to do what is in the Constitution and defend themselves. See, people, Staten Island is another municipality where a black man is guilty until he proves himself innocent, which is my situation. People, I was arrested for violating an order of protection 2 months before the petition for the order of protection was even filed. Many of you in the legal community who have dealt with domestic violence knows that is illegal. You cannot be arrested for something that happened before you were even served with an order of protection. Yet this racist detective arrested me for harassment when I was only trying to get the property back that a court had enforced the 123 precinct to get. People, this is the same order that the 123 precinct was ignoring and refusing to honor, yet literally came after me the day Francina was commanded to return this dog or go to jail to enforce her New Jersey order to arrest me. But they ignored my New Jersey order. People, the civil lawsuit in this is going to be one for the records, and I pray that the actions coming through my continuous and diligent fighting of these people is enough to motivate black men and possibly change the racist narrative that is within these precincts on Staten Island. People, we need better. We need this to stop, people, because if it does not stop, then at the end of the day, all we will ever do, all we will ever be is play toys of the racist institution that is Staten Island, these precincts like the 120 and 123 precinct, and this racially motivated district attorney who is Michael McMahon. People, there's no way I should be facing harassment charges for a crime that happened 2 months before the petition of the order of protection was filed. This is the injustice that is so prevalent in Staten Island's Richmond County DA's office. People, stay tuned. Later this afternoon, I'll be releasing Liar. It's not the best edited, but it does tell the story. It provides proof. You will hear recordings of internal affairs investigators admitting how the Richmond County DA's office is after me for Francina. You will hear testimony how the NYPD was aware of what was going on with Francina, yet the Richmond County DA's office still told them to come after me. People, again, I was arrested for violating an order of protection 2 months before it was even petitioned for. Petition means that the paperwork was filled out. I would love to know how the 120 precinct is going to explain this. I would love to know how this prosecutor is going to prosecute me for a violation to an order of protection, for a violation or alleged violation that happened 2 months before the petition for the order was even filed. People, this is the manipulative and false practices of Staten Island, who will falsify paperwork, who will manipulate documentation in order to achieve a conviction against someone who they know did absolutely nothing. Well, people of God today, people of Staten Island and black men of my community, I'm here to tell you something that you didn't know, now you will. Not me. I will not be set up. I will not be lied on. I will not be harassed because I wanted my right for peace from a woman who was harassing the living hell out of me, which was proven in court, which she was convicted of, and simply the 120 precinct and that racist district attorney's office refuses to honor, even though it's documented in a federally protected order of protection. This is the situation going on within myself and Staten Island. Please continue to support my fight against racism and injustice and domestic violence. The false reporting that's instituted by women like Francina Evans needs to stop, even by men like Francina Evans. This woman is no community activist. This woman is no woman of the community. People, she definitively lied on her ex-boyfriend because she is bitter he broke up with her, which hundreds of you who have listened to the tapes on this very timeline know. So this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to repost every one of those videos today so they're more current in my timeline. Even the video of her brother, Bretton Evans, who calls her an embarrassment and a thief. I'm going to also then post this documentary Liar so you can actually hear the recording and you can see the proof of what was going on, people. People, this is a very sad offense, and it's even more sad because my mother was labeled Mother Teresa of Staten Island. Now her son must fight the racism and injustice that she...
Listen, Mama, love me.
Now her son must fight the racism and injustice that she tried to fight her entire life by empowering and educating the members of her community and church to what truly goes on with these racist detectives and these racially motivated prosecutors. People, my mother was a personal friend of Michael McMahon's, not because Michael McMahon likes black women, because Michael McMahon had to respect the strength of this little black woman from Stapleton who ran this church. My mother was no pushover, people. She was a woman who fought for her rights and fought for the justice of black people. And so will I, people. I will not be any white man's mark. And forgive me because this is not a racially motivated talk. I'm a black man like thousands of you watching this video, and I deserve my rights as a black man who has worked hard to become what he is today, people. People, I am involved in no crime. I do nothing but work 18-hour days, people. I have the right to my own peace. I have the right to not be stalked, harassed, and falsely pursued because my ex-girlfriend cannot let go of the situation that happened. And I'm sorry for all of you who may know her who do not want to accept the truth, even though there's recordings of her begging me to stay with her, even though there's text message proving that she robbed the hell out of me and was literally trying to use the thing that she stole to make me sign over shares of the business. Even though there's proof from her own family, her eldest brother, who she calls her twin and she loves so much, calling her a thief and pathetic because of how badly she lied on me, people. People, my objective is only to stop. I want nothing to do with this woman. I have been fighting for my freedom and my space from her and her psycho mother, people, for 20 months. Almost 2 years I have been fighting Francina Evans off. And people, I'm tired. I simply want my peace. I want this woman gone. I want to forget that she was ever created. I don't ever want to know this woman again, people. But my only way to do that is to force the Richmond County DA's office to look at the information that they have been receiving from Essex County and even the order that was decided against Francina. I need the Richmond County DA's office to get off their racially motivated ass and do the right thing finally for a black man within his community. I shouldn't have to go to prison and be exonerated, people. I shouldn't have to be falsely arrested and then prove myself innocent, people. The American justice system does not work with you being guilty until you are innocent. No, the credendum is I am innocent until proven guilty. And racially motivated cops should not falsify paperwork to make me appear guilty because they happen to like my racially mixed girlfriend and have desires of raping or conquering her, people. Because that's all this is. My ex-girlfriend is a beautiful woman. She walks into these precincts, and these racially motivated cops hate the fact that my black self was able to bed her. So what they do is come after me with everything they can to falsely accuse me of crimes they know I didn't commit, people. People, injustice on Staten Island has been a problem for decades. And I might not break the wheel. Hell, I might not even stop the wheel from its momentum. But if I can make the people of my community aware that the wheel has a problem, then maybe you together can come collectively as the repair vehicle to fix the messed up momentum of the justice system that is in Staten Island, people. People, Staten Island does not follow the law. Staten Island believes it's its own fiefdom, separate from New York City and hell, even the country, people. These cops and these prosecutors falsify paperwork, break the law, do whatever they have to do because they believe that they are isolated from the rest of the system. But people, I ain't never been one who was afraid to bring somebody else into a fight. I've contacted the Attorney General. I've contacted the FBI. I've contacted the Department of Justice. I've contacted Internal Affairs. I've contacted the Attorney General. I've contacted the CCRB. People, I have made complaints to over 10 different agencies that can do something about what's going on, and I am finally getting some traction. I am tired, people. And if it means that I have to bring every agency I can against the NYPD and Richmond County DA's office for the violations they have done to my crime victim rights and to me as a domestically abused male, then I will. Domestic violence is serious, people, and it's not only about physical abuse. It is the mental, the psychological, and the financial abuse of more intelligent partners like Francina Evans that do the most damage. Because people, see, you can heal from injuries on your body, but how long does it take you from healing from the emotional trauma of your child being taken from you? How long does it take you to heal from the emotional trauma of being arrested and detained for 3 or 4 days in a lice-infested cell that is completely unsanitary? Because this is what the police do to our brothers and sisters on Staten Island. They lock them up like animals in shit-filled cells with lice and crabs and everything crawling around the cell. They don't feed them. They don't even basically want to give them water, people. The conditions within these precincts are completely unsanitary. Yet a vicious, lying, just disgusting excuse for a human being that I made the unfortunate mistake of dating to get revenge on me lied to a racially motivated detective who subjected me to something like that for days for something he knew I didn't do. People, not Clayton Howard. Clayton Howard has always been a fighter, and I'm going to keep fighting for injustice. I'm going to keep fighting for my rights, and I'm going to expose the racism that is within this precinct and district attorney's office. People, right now there are 2 complaints against this woman. It has been over 3 weeks and I have heard nothing. Yet people, she walked into a precinct less than 3 days, 72 hours later, I had an iCard on me. People, I had an iCard and there was no phone call, people. I had an iCard and they used an incident that happened 2 months before the petition for the order of protection was filed, people. It's not like I told her I was going to punch in her face or anything, people. She had robbed me. I was tired of being jerked around for my property and disrespected, so I said to her, listen, I'm going to cause you as much pain and discomfort as you caused me, and I'm going to get that dog back. They used that statement to try to say I threatened her, people. Not the fact of the days of threats that she had done before that. Not the coercion, which we'll see in the video where she tells me directly to surrender the company for the dog. No, none of that was worthy of charging Francina Evans, the criminal who is under indictment and waiting trial in New Jersey. No, that's not enough for that. But her to walk into a precinct and lie and say I called her, that's enough. No proof. She just been convicted of harassment. But that was enough for them to arrest me. People, I am going to show you, I'm going to let you hear the racism, discrimination, and the unethical tactics that are being imposed on me by the 120 in the Richmond County DA's office. I ask that when you see this video, you watch it with an open mind. You pay attention to the recordings. You look at the documentation I presented, and you tell me if I, Clayton Howard, the son of Staten Island's Mother Teresa, the late Reverend Maggie Howard, is a liar. People, Clayton has never been a liar. They want you to think I'm a liar because I'm a black man with a past. How many of your family members have passed my audience, my minority audience? How many of your brothers, your fathers, your cousins were set up by the police and now have records? And these police use this to try to say that they are less than what's the word I'm looking for? Less than respectable citizens, people. We all make mistakes, people. Look at the pastor of Mount Sinai Church who cheated on his wife, now is a police lieutenant, people. What ethical standards would you have this man up here representing the police as a man of God when he's not even a man of God in his church, people? This is the true mouthpiece of Staten Island. The same district attorney's office that would put Francina Evans on the stage to talk about coercive abuse, people, 4 weeks after she was just convicted of harassment. What DA's office, would have someone up there talking about murders and they killed someone? I don't get that. But this is what I have to deal with, dealing with this racist prosecutor and these racially motivated detectives. People of God, I'm here to tell you today, not me. And if we need to say this together, we can hashtag it, people. Not me. No racism for me. And there will be no racism from Clayton Howard. Thank you for watching this morning. The Lord is my shepherd, and I definitely shall not want. I am not afraid of what is going on for me, and I have the strength thanks to a great woman, the woman who I keep before me every day to fight the injustice that is this racist district attorney and this bigot and man who is Victor Brown, a police lieutenant who empowered my ex-girlfriend with the resources to weaponize the police against me, people. Yes, the police have been weaponized against me, and in this documentary that I will release in a couple of hours, you will hear Internal Affairs tell you that Francina Evans has weaponized the police against me with false reports, and they tell me there's nothing they can do. I have to let New Jersey handle it. Well, this internal investigator, Sergeant, he's wrong. There's a lot I can do, people. And luckily, this woman before me was intelligent enough to raise her son with many of the attributes she has. I know how to fight, I know how to write, and I will keep fighting, people. Please stay tuned. Please watch my documentary. Like, share, comment. Notify the people you know in domestic violence situations. Notify the people you know who truly fight for civil rights and the rights of black men, people. No black man, no minority partner should be stalked, harassed, and robbed by an ex who they want nothing to do with and only want their peace, and then have the police be weaponized against them simply because this partner is more racially acceptable than the actual victim. That's my situation, people. Again, my ex reminds these white men of the subjugation that their people put on us for hundreds of years, people. She's a living, breathing reminder of the time that white men could take whatever they want. They don't want to have to help me, a black man of strength who can speak and articulate the things that they are doing to him. They would rather I be some ignorant nigga with my pants around my damn ankles who can't hold a word, who can't articulate a sentence, who can't tell my audience exactly what they are doing, and who doesn't have the intelligence to structure it together so you can see what they're doing. People of God, they were so wrong. Please stay tuned for Liar, a man's story into domestic violence, which will highlight the lies and the racism told, the lies of Francina Evans, and the racially motivated prosecution and arrest that I was put under subject by these racist detectives in this racist district attorney's office. People, I say racism because that is exactly what this is. It does not matter that Francine is black, people. Francine is a black woman who reminds these white men of the subjugation of our people. She's technically 50-50 with them, people. They treat me like complete shit, people. They lie through their teeth. They falsify reports so the reports are sent to other precincts and be closed out, and then the precinct refuses to honor a report. This is what's going on, people. Please watch my documentary, see the injustice that is going on, and then you make the determine yourself. Make the determination if I, Clayton Howard, have lied on Francina Evans or if she has been lying. The first thing I'm going to do, people, is re-release all of the recordings of the breakup, of the brother, of the grandmother. There will be the next four videos re-released will be those, culminating and finally ending with the Liar documentary, which should be up by about 5 o'clock today. I ask that you get your popcorn, you get your favorite drink, and you take about an hour later today or sometime over the weekend to watch this documentary, Liar. Like, comment, share. If you think I'm a liar, you can call me a liar in the comment. This is America, people. You have the right to your opinion and say whatever you want. But people, at the end of the day, you can call me a liar. The evidence is going to prove I'm not. Thank you for listening, people. I am a man of God who has transcended into something much more than the person who was before you a year ago when this all started, people. Great tragedy, great injustice. Persecution changes you, people. It hardens your heart. It awakens your soul and your conscience to the things that you need to do. This is my story, Clayton Howard, people. A man who has been stalked, lied on, and harassed by a bitter ex-girlfriend who weaponized the police against him because they were racially motivated against black people. Black men and minorities of my community, Francina Evans is no community activist. She is a danger to the black men on Staten Island because she will weaponize the police against you when you break up with her because she is too weak to stand up to her crazy-ass mother, people. That is what happened. I was never this woman's enemy. The only thing I wanted was this woman to go away because she could not stand up to her mother. Listen to how I have been stalked, lied on, robbed, and all types of other stuff simply because I broke up with Francina Evans. Listen to how she has weaponized the police against me to get revenge on me because I broke up with her, people. And then you tell me if I'm lying. Thank you for listening. Again, forgive my hiatus, people. I had to do what I needed to do. I needed to get my daughter back. I needed to get this situation under control with this racially motivated district attorney's office and these cops. So I had to take some time out, contacting organizations and doing what I needed to do the right thing for myself and my child, who is my major responsibility. I thank you again for listening, people. I love you all who have supported me, and you'll see a lot more of me, people. Stay tuned for Liar. It'll be out by 5 o'clock today. Thank you for listening. God bless. I love you all, and enjoy your Thursday morning.